Hey guys, HuShang here. Welcome to another StarCraft 2 lesson. In this video, we're going to be looking at multitasking. I did a poll the other day and you guys said that multitasking was actually the most difficult thing for you. Over 50% of you. So here we are, coming out with a video on multitasking. And we're currently watching Maru. We're watching Maru because at the end of this video, you guys are going to all be able to multitask like Maru. There's going to be a massive influx of you guys into Code S. So we're going to be breaking it down into 6 different levels, and I think we're just ready to jump right in. Maybe before that, just so you guys know, if you're not familiar, I do offer coaching. Check out my website, HuShangCoaching.com. I have 6 GM students at this point, so pretty much got the formula down pat. If you want to improve quickly, go check out that. We have group coaching. If you're interested, check out my website. We meet up every Wednesday and Thursday. And then, just make sure you join the Discord. That part's free. But the more of you guys in there, the better. So let's jump in to level 1. Should be pretty easy. Watch level 1. Pause the video. Go try it out in a custom. Once you're comfortable, move on to level 2. And repeat. Alright, let's jump right into it. Stop wasting our time. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to be starting with level 1. And level 1 is designed to be super easy. So pretty much everyone shouldn't have a problem with this level, I hope. And basically, we're going to be making some workers and moving this probe. So first thing you need to do, and I recommend that maybe after you watch this segment, you just pause it and go test it out. Make sure you can master this before we move on to the next level. And I promise the next levels are going to get progressively harder. So don't worry if you're a high level player, this one's supposed to be easy. So, okay, first step. We're going to control group both of our Nexi. If you want to play Terran though, you can do that. If you want to play Zerg, should be fine as well. Maybe just use like a Zergling instead. And what we're going to do is make our workers in between moving the probe. So select your probe. You're going to have this hotkeyed as well. You can see I have both the Nexi and the probe hotkeyed. And we're going to move the probe. And then we're going to queue 2 workers. So this requires you to not look at your Nexi. You're just going to click your Nexus hotkey, make the 2 workers, and then you're going to move your probe again. I suppose you could just move it on the screen if you want, but that's not quite going to take 12 seconds. And basically just each time, you're going to swap back and forth between the Nexus hotkey and the probe. So you can do really long ones if you're just learning, or you could do these quick ones that I'm doing now. And just basically the idea is just to get you comfortable with transferring back and forth between these hotkeys. Obviously at the higher levels, you'll see Grandmasters tabbing between all their buildings and doing this. And there's a very large skill gap, or skill progression, we could say. But just to start, let's do this. Once you can master this, it's already a big step, I think, for a lot of people, because we're starting to use these control groups and our mouse at the same time. So just move your probe, queue the workers, and I think that is about it for level 1. So hopefully everyone can do that pretty easily. Let's move on to level 2. Alright, hopefully you guys are ready for level 2. In this level, we're going to be making workers, making a unit, and moving the unit. So we're going to be adding on making the units, basically. I think for this one, we'll just make some zealots, just again, to keep it very simple, so that we're progressing easily. So first of all, I guess I should point out how long the units take to build, because I think it's important that you know you're going to be making many probes for each zealot. Like a zealot takes 27 seconds. If you're making marines, I believe they're 18, whereas workers are 12. So the probes are going to be made more often than the units. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is having 3 hotkeys now. We have a Nexus hotkey, we have a probe hotkey, and then we also, which we're adding now, a gate hotkey. So just grab all your gates, put them on a hotkey, and we're ready to get started. Okay, so we're going to be moving the probe in between all of the actions for now. So you can move your probe. If you want to move it on the minimap really far, that's okay. So let's move it way over here on the minimap. Let's queue up to worker. Then we're going to go to our gate hotkey, and we're going to make 1 zealot per gateway. I made 3 gateways, but whatever you want. And then at the end of that, you're going to move your probe again. You're going to select your nexus, and you're going to make probes. You might have noticed that's pretty quick. So why don't we queue up 2 probes on each nexus for each zealot. That's going to balance it out a little bit better. And our goal is just to keep this probe moving and keep all of our productions going pretty smoothly. Notice how here I've queued up 3 probes. I'm doing this because, again, it takes about 2 probes per zealot. So if I queue 2 each time I go to the nexus, then we're never really going to be missing probes. And in real games, not missing your probes is way more important than the other things. Queue up some more. Keep the probe moving. And I think we have done a pretty good job here. So obviously a little bit harder than level 1, but hopefully not too bad for everybody. I think that's it for level 2. Level 3 is going to be starting to get a little more difficult. So let's move on to level 3. Alright, let's get on to level 3. I want to preface though, I think this is going to be where people start to have a lot of challenges with the multitasking. So if that's you, don't worry. Multitasking is really hard for the human brain, a very difficult skill to master, but if you can do this drill before your games, I think you're going to very easily start getting really good at it. Okay, so for this level 3, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making the pylons as well as all the stuff we did in level 2. So now we have 4 tasks to do. We got to be making units, we got to be making workers, we got to be moving our probe, and we got to be making pylons. Now at this point, I really want to tell you guys about camera locations, because if you don't have camera locations, this is going to be quite hard. So camera locations, just to quickly show you guys, I know this is probably something most of you already have set up, but if you go, sorry, where am I going? Hotkeys, and then global, and then camera. Scroll down, you'll see create location and also jump to location. And basically what you want to do is set up the create location to control plus F1, or shift plus F1 is fine, I guess, as well. And then you want to set the jump to location to the corresponding F key. So create location 1, control plus F1, jump to location 1, just F1. And then jump to location, or sorry, create location 2, control plus F2, jump to location 2, F2, etc, etc. So make sure you set these up. And then what you're going to want to do is have your main base corresponding to camera location number 1. So you can press control F1, and then whenever you hit F1 now, it's going to jump you back here. No matter how many times you try to run away, you can't. If you hit F1, you're going to get sent back to your main base. So do that for your main, do that for your second. I've already set them up, and that's going to make the building the pylons a lot easier. Okay, now for the actual level 3. So we're going to be, again, moving our worker, making the probes, making the units, and then jumping to our main base, building the pylon. And don't forget, you want this worker to come back to the mineral line as well. So you're going to build the pylon, hold shift, right click back to the mineral line. Okay, maybe practice this a little bit if you don't already do it. And let's try it out. So we're going to move the probe. We're going to move it really far to start. We're going to make 2 workers per nexus. We're going to make 1 zealot per gateway. And then we're going to remember to build a pylon and send it back to the mineral line. And then we just repeat this. Move the probe really far. Make some workers. 2 extra per nexus. Make the zealots. 1 per gateway. F1 to the main base. Grab a probe. build a pylon, and back. Do it again. Probe really far, make some workers, go to your gateway, make some zealots, grab a probe, make a pylon. Move your worker, do one more iteration, make some probes. Notice here that we're doing it so well that our probes are starting to get pretty high. So maybe we'll just make one per nexus down here. Our zealots actually look pretty good. Maybe we don't need to make zealots this round. Okay, nice. Let's move our probe again. Let's come over here. Let's make a pylon. I'd recommend you start, doing this many iterations and start to get used to like, oh, I have, many probes already building. I don't even need to queue that many. Let's just do one, right? If you can get to this level, you are pretty much mastering this at this point, and you can move on to the next level. So let's do that now. Alright guys, welcome to level 4. Level 4 is going to be legitimately hard for most of you guys. So if you can't do this level, don't worry, just keep practicing, trying to get better, and eventually I think you guys can all nail it. So what we're going to do for this level is we're not actually going to be adding anything new. What we're going to be doing is the same thing we did in the last level, but we are going to add something to make it harder, but we're going to be making the same things. So we're going to be making workers. We're going to do 2 at a time. And then we're going to be making zealots just like before, 1 at a time. And then we're going to be making the pylons, making 1 pylon. Okay. But the difference is instead of moving the probe once per cycle, we're going to be moving the probe in between each of these actions. So that alone is going to make it quite hard. And the other thing that's going to make it quite hard is I want you guys to be progressively queuing more units over time. So you're basically going to be going through the cycle as fast as you can. All right. And and the goal is to max out the probes and the zealots. If you can max out the probes and the zealots, then you're ready to move on to level 5. And yes, there is going to be a level 5. Okay, let's try it out. So I'll do it slow at first. Let's move our probe over here. And we're going to try and keep to this order. So making workers, making zealots, and then making a pylon. All right, let's try. So move the worker, make the probes, move the worker, make the zealots, move the worker again, jump to your main, make a pylon, move your worker. And ideally you can keep doing that without the worker stopping, because if you're playing a real game and your worker stops and I don't know, maybe you're in your opponent's base and there's a zealot, well, you just lost your scouting worker. So we don't really want that worker to stop. Try to keep it moving. Okay, and now we just try to keep this going so that we can max out our productions. So let me do that till we max out. Move the probe, make some workers. Move the probe, make some zealots. Move the probe, make a pylon. Move the probe, make some workers. Move the probe, make some zealots. Move the probe, make a pylon. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Pylon. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're maxed there. Nice. Move the probe again. 1, 2, 3. Worker. Zealots. Pylon. And we're maxed. I think we have completed the challenge. Hopefully you guys did as well. If you didn't, don't worry. I think this is actually pretty hard for most levels. But if you have, I'm assuming you're actually pretty high MMR already. You're probably Diamond or Masters. So these next levels are going to be legitimately quite challenging, like extremely challenging. The next level especially, and the one after that probably you're like GM. Okay, let's move on to level 5. All right, guys, welcome to level 5. Level 5 we're going to be doing in a new setting. I'm going to start the game right away while I talk. And level 5 is no longer sort of a basic drill. We're actually going to be playing your opening build order while doing the multitasking. So whatever race you play, you can pick any build order you want, but the goal is going to be to move our scouting worker in between each thing we do. It's a little bit of a jump, definitely a little bit of a jump. I suppose you could do between 2 tasks. Yeah, maybe we'll do between 2 tasks to start, just so it's a bit easier. And then we'll move on to every task after this. So let's scout on gate. Again, if you're playing another race, you could just do that as well. Doesn't really matter. And starting now, we're going to start babysitting our worker between each task. Let's just move it around the map instead of in the opponent's base, I think. Just because the AI is going to make units. Okay, so the goal is move the worker between 2 tasks. I'm going to move it quite far, actually, and you could even use shift commands. So let's do... actually, it should be fine just between each thing. It's actually not even that quick. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is build our cyber. Let's grab that. And then after you build a cyber, you're going to move your worker 1 time. So I just moved it on the minimap though. And then we're going to send a worker to the second base. And I'm actually going to count that as 1 task. So let's move our worker again. Okay, let's make the nexus. That's a task. Let's move the worker. I'm going to jump to the worker just so you guys can see, but I would recommend you don't jump to the worker. Make a pylon, move the worker. Make the gas, move the worker. And you'll notice that we kind of need to make probes in between these. So doing your tasks, make sure that you also make the workers. Stalker, warp gate, let's kind of combine those 2, I think. Let me pause here. Combine the stalker and the warp gate because they're at the same time. Might as well do those together. And then move our worker. Okay. Now, at this point in the game, you're going to realize that I'm actually tapping my keys quite a bit here. And the reason I'm tapping the keys is because it's quite desynchronized compared to our basic first 4 multitasking levels, right? And so because of this, we really need to be tapping. This is called tapping. Or in my comment section, it's called pro gamers spamming their keyboards for no reason. But it's called tapping. It's actually very, very helpful. And the reason we're tapping is because we need to keep track of so many different progress bars. So in order to do that, we really need to be tapping, oscillating between the nexus, the gateway for now, and our camera location so that you can see when things are completing. So for now you can see, okay, our probe is like, you know, only 1 square here. So we should probably get that up to like at least 3 or, you know, 2 at least, or maybe 3, I guess I should have said. Let's do 3 just to keep it easy. Change the rally points, move our probe. All right, everything's looking good. Let's hotkey this stalker. Let's make our robo, get our probe moving. More workers, check our stuff, make a stalker, get the probe moving. Already you can see this is quite challenging. So if you can do this, you are going to be honestly extremely good at this game. This is already very, very difficult, I think. Make sure you use a builder you know. That's going to make this quite a bit easier. So again, you see me bouncing around. I feel like this might look a bit chaotic to some people, like I'm playing very quick. They don't think they can do this, but really what I'm doing is just tapping the keys. So 1-1 or F1, F2, and 2-2. Basically, just bouncing around between the buildings. And what that does is it just shows you more information. So you need more information to be able to do this, basically. And the more information you can gather, the better, right? So as I hit these, you know, F2 keys, I can see, okay, this probe is almost done, right? And if you have these synced even, like this, you can just come back and whenever it's almost done, you can just queue more workers. Okay, so I don't know, let's add some more gates, get the probe moving. Add some more probes, get this guy moving. And I think you guys get the point. So you can take this as far as you want. Obviously, the farther you go, the harder it's going to be. But I think even being able to do like your opening is going to be really, really helpful for ladder, because that's going to allow you enough bandwidth for your brain to be able to scout. So yeah, even if you're like a diamond player, let's say, I think this is a really, really important level to get to so that you can pick up information about what your opponent is doing. If you can't do this, it's going to be really hard actually to play without just dying to random stuff. So really, really important skill. Hopefully I explained this well. There's a lot going on in your normal build, so I might have skipped past stuff. But if you guys have questions, just let me know in the comments, and I can try to clarify. But okay, let's move on to the next level. Maybe I'll call this the Maru level. Yeah, we're gonna move on to level Maru, guys. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome to level Maru. Now obviously I couldn't continue playing Protoss since this is level Maru. So I've switched over to Terran, but of course you can do this with your main race. And what we're going to be doing in level Maru is basically playing like Maru. No, I'm just kidding. Basically what we're going to be doing is trying to oscillate between our units as often as possible. And just keep our units moving as well as our scouting probe. So this is obviously way higher than most players in StarCraft 2 are ever going to get to. So if you can't do this, don't worry about it. But if you can do this, it's going to help you tremendously in your games. I think most Grandmasters are at or close to this level. Obviously some people have different skills they're good at, but if you want to get to Grandmaster, you kind of need to be good at this skill. So let's grab our scouting probe, or SCV rather. And we're going to now be jumping between these things as often as possible. This is the first step to get good at this level, is you need to be jumping around even when it's meaningless. And if you disagree and think this is spam, I'll fight you, because if you want to get good at this skill, it's so critical. There's just no way around it. You have to do this if you want to get to GM. And the reason is that you need to be training your brain to jump between tasks faster. And so you have to spam to get to this level. You have to do meaningless actions at first to be able to do meaningful actions in the future.
Game resumed.
And I mean, if you look at any pro gamer, let me pause again. If you look at any pro gamer, they're doing this. So if you're one of the guys in the comments, I might have a little beef with this. If you're one of the guys in the comments that says pro gamers are spamming, you don't need to do this, this is silly, you're wasting all your actions. If you look at any pro gamer in this game, they will all do this. So if every pro gamer is doing this, there must be a reason, right? Okay, rant aside, let's go. I think I'm gonna play a 3 racks builder. Play whatever builder you want. But let's try and just oscillate here. Check the scouting worker. By doing that, I'm really helping get some information about where my worker is on the map. So if you guys ever play the game and you're like, oh shit, my worker just died, I didn't even know it was in their base. That's because you're not tapping over to the worker and getting a little bit of information into your brain about where it is.
Game resumed.
Okay, so now in this builder we need a depot.
Our SCVs
There's a marine there.
under attack.
It's attacking our SCV. I just picked up that information. There's a command center. It's at 3/4. I just picked up that information. Worker's still going. Notice I just sent the worker into the enemy, and if there's a marine there, it's gonna die. But because we're practicing transferring our attention so frequently, if we get an alert, we're gonna be able to easily move it away.
Game resumed.
Just like that. So it's not really a problem as long as you're practicing the correct way. All right, keep our worker moving. I kind of want to watch it here. Let's grab another racks. Keep our worker moving. We stalled a little bit there, so that's not great. We want to keep it going. Let's hotkey these guys. Keep the worker going. This is basically my drill. in all my ladder games, because this is very, very difficult. But if you continue practicing like this, where you're always jumping around and it seems kind of frantic, you're gonna get so good at picking up information quickly. Let's actually hide this worker over here. Hotkey these guys. So just to draw your attention, I'm really doing a lot of my macro down here.
Command center upgrade complete.
Almost all of it, to be honest, is going down there. You'll also notice that I'm really trying to stop focusing on tasks almost as soon as I do them, right? Even here, this is too idle right now.
Complete.
The point is to always be switching. So yeah, this is definitely very, very high level, but I think if you practice doing this in your games, jumping between your tasks, it definitely will come quicker than you think.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
I just had a diamond student actually where we were working on this, and I think already his multitasking is super strong within like a week or two. Yeah, so I think you guys get the point. That's how fast you want to be kind of shifting around if you want to become Maru. I'm sure there's that's pretty much all of you want to become Maru. So just do this, and then within 3 weeks, you'll have to go down to your local office and request a name change. All right. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I think that's it for multitasking. Hopefully this was super helpful for you guys. If you have questions about, you know, different things, how to do it, maybe I skipped over some details, just let me know in the comments. And as always, you can get my coaching on my website, HuShangCoaching.com. There'll be a link in the description. We have a Discord as well. I know there's a lot of stuff here. We have a Discord you should join, and we also have a members channel. So if you guys want to come join the members channel, that would be awesome. We're doing group practice every Wednesday and Thursday, and we're basically doing some scrims, and then I'm coaching in between, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.